Say it again. Say what you called me. Marcus's voice shook, not with fear, but with the kind of rage that comes from being pushed past reason. Across the cracked sidewalk, Jacob Hale smirked. His friends laughed behind him, phones already lifted. Relax, man, Jacob taunted. I'm just calling you what everyone in this town does. Nothing personal. He said it again, the slur sharp, practiced, dripping with inherited venom. Marcus dropped his backpack, fists curling, breath shortening. He didn't hear the shouts. He didn't hear the laughter. All he saw was Jacob's grin and the phone recording it. It would be the last video of Marcus alive. Marcus Ward had lived in Cold Creek, Ohio, for 16 years, ever since his mother moved them away from Detroit, hoping for a quieter life. Cold Creek did offer quiet, too much of it, but not peace. For Marcus, school hallways became battlegrounds. Teachers ignored comments like, "you people," and brushed off complaints as teen conflict. The police dismissed the harassment as boys being boys. He stopped telling his mother. It only made her eyes dim in that brittle way that made him feel like he was breaking her heart simply by existing. But Marcus had one escape. Lily Hale, Jacob's sister. She liked his sketches. He liked her laugh. They spiraled into something fragile and dangerous, hidden in late-night calls and secret walks behind the abandoned train station. She promised she'd stand up for him one day. He promised he'd leave Cold Creek with her. Neither of them understood the fuse they were lighting. The night Marcus vanished, Lily was the last person he spoke to. They argued, not loudly, not angrily, just with the kind of tension that comes when love smashes against the world outside it. Jacob found out, she whispered. He saw the messages. Okay, Marcus breathed. We'll figure it out. You don't understand, she whispered again. My dad knows too. The Hale family's reputation stretched across the county. Their grandfather wore a hood in photographs you couldn't find online anymore. Their father, Sheriff Clint Hale, carried a badge that excused what older generations used to do outright. Jacob had inherited all of it, sharpened and modernized. Just get somewhere safe, Marcus told her. Her voice trembled. You should do the same. But Marcus never made it home. Mrs. Ward reported him missing 3 hours after curfew. The police took 48 hours to enter his name into the system and another 24 to start basic inquiries. Sheriff Hale personally handled the file. He wrote "likely runaway" in bold at the top. Case closed before it even opened. School whispered theories, some cruel, some careless. He probably went back to Detroit. Maybe he robbed someone and skipped town. Kids like him don't last anyway. Lily sat through it all in silence, eyes fixed on her desk as if she could swallow the world whole. But guilt is louder than grief, and hers was deafening. She reached out to Detective Reed Hargrove, a state investigator with a reputation for being inconvenient to local authorities. My brother said something, she whispered during their first meeting. Something that didn't make sense at the time. What did he say? Hargrove asked. That he wouldn't be a problem anymore. Hargrove froze. Meaning Marcus? Lily nodded, hands shaking. He said Dad took care of it. Hargrove's jaw tightened. Your father closed the missing persons report. I know. You're telling me he might have been involved. I'm telling you he was angry. The kind of angry I've seen him use a belt, a fist, a gun to fix. Hargrove opened a formal investigation that afternoon, and the entire town turned against him. Tips dried up. Stores refused him service. Officers avoided his calls. Sheriff Hale called the state office demanding he be reassigned. He wasn't. Instead, Hargrove kept digging. He found witnesses who initially denied seeing anything, but later admitted quietly, always in parking lots or over burner texts, that they saw Marcus on the night he vanished. They saw Jacob's truck tailing him. They saw Sheriff Hale's patrol car behind them both, lights off. None agreed to testify. Fear is a language small towns speak fluently. Lily broke first. She showed Hargrove her brother's locked phone. Not willingly, Her hands trembled the entire time, but enough for him to access hidden videos, deleted messages, group chats filled with slurs, threats, and a digital map of places no cop ever checks. One location was marked with 3 letters, SPT, the State Park Trail. When Hargrove followed the coordinates, he found tyre marks leading toward an old service road, a path so overgrown it was nearly erased. The forest smelled of rot and rain. Birds avoided it. So did townspeople, as if instinct knew something human minds refused to consider. 60 yards in, he found the ditch. It was shallow, sunken, and flooded from the last storm. Something fabric-like clung to a root. He tugged, a hoodie, dark grey, torn at the shoulder. The same hoodie Marcus was wearing the night he disappeared. Lily collapsed when Hargrove brought it to her. Jacob used to say things, she sobbed. He said Marcus needed to be taught a lesson, that he needed to be put back in his place. Hargrove's voice softened. Do you think your father was involved? My father, she whispered, voice cracking, believes justice only applies to certain people. The discovery forced law enforcement to act. Officers who once ignored the case now swarmed the woods. Drones scanned the area. Divers searched a nearby ravine. Sheriff Hale recused himself publicly, but monitored every update privately, pacing like a caged animal behind the yellow tape. Jacob vanished that same night. His car abandoned, his bedroom empty, his phone smashed. Some said he fled. Others whispered darker things, that his father hid him, that the woods swallowed him too. 2 days later, search dogs caught a scent near the ravine. They found a shallow grave. Not a body, not fully. Just the suggestion of one. Bones that didn't match an adult. Torn scraps of clothing. A bracelet Marcus's mother bought him for his 15th birthday. The ravine had moved the soil. Something else had disturbed it recently. As they uncovered the site, Hargrove's flashlight flickered. The wind shifted, carrying a strange rhythmic creaking from deeper in the trees. Not branches. Not an animal. Breathing. Hargrove turned. Is someone there? He called out. The beam sliced through the dark and caught a figure standing behind a rotting oak. At first, it looked like a shadow, until it stepped forward. A hoodie hung from its frame. Marcus's hoodie. The exact one they'd just pulled from the ditch. Still stained, still torn, still impossible. Hargrove's breath caught. Who's there? He shouted. The figure tilted its head slowly, as if studying him, the motion too deliberate to be wind, too human to be imagination. Then, without a sound, it retreated into the trees, vanishing, consumed by the forest as if it were never there. Behind him, the loose earth of the opened grave shifted under its own weight, just once, like something beneath it was moving upward. And Detective Hargrove, frozen in place, realized the forest wasn't done giving answers. Not yet, not even close. The forest felt colder the second night of the search, like the air itself remembered what happened and wanted to warn anyone foolish enough to enter. Detective Hargrove walked with 2 state officers, their flashlights sweeping the tree line. Every few minutes they paused, not by choice, but because the silence pressed against their lungs like a hand. Behind them, the local police trailed, muttering under their breath. Wasting time, one grumbled. Kid probably ran off, another said. Should have stayed where he belonged. They didn't whisper. They didn't care who heard. Lily flinched at every word. She kept Marcus's recovered bracelet clutched in her palm, as if holding it tight kept him alive. Hargrove turned on the officers. If you're not here to help, go back to your trucks. The closest one smirked. Relax, detective. We're just saying what everyone else is thinking. Another laughed. Boy like him goes missing. Whole town sleeps better. Lily's breath hitched. Hargrove stepped between her and the officers, voice dangerously low. Say one more word. The men grew quiet, but their faces showed no apology, only irritation at being challenged. The search pressed deeper into the woods. The trees grew denser, the air thicker. Something about this place felt wrong, like it swallowed sound, swallowed light, swallowed truth. And somewhere in that suffocating dark, something else moved. At 10:14 p.m., the dogs halted, growled, backed away. Hargrove raised his flashlight, heart pounding. The beam landed on a torn strip of fabric snagged on a branch, Marcus's hoodie, the same one they'd found earlier. But now here again, as if dropped moments before. Lily gasped. That wasn't there yesterday. Something cracked in the brush. A deliberate step. The officers lifted their weapons. "Identify yourself!" one shouted. No answer, only another step. Heavier, closer. Lily grabbed Hargrove's sleeve. Then a figure stepped into view. It wasn't clear. It wasn't fully visible. Just enough shape to be human. Just enough darkness to be something else. The hoodie hung from its shoulders like wet fabric, heavy, dripping. One of the officers whispered, voice trembling despite the bravado he carried minutes earlier. "Is that him?" Hargrove took a step forward. "Marcus?" The figure angled its head. Slowly. Too slowly. Like bones grinding. It lifted its arm, not fast, not threatening, just enough to point deeper into the forest, toward an unmarked trail swallowed by fog. The air thinned. The lights flickered. Then Marcus's voice. Broken. Distant. Not coming from the figure, but from everywhere around them. Whispered, "Don't let him bury me again." Lily screamed. Hargrove stumbled backward. The local officers dropped their guns and bolted like children fleeing a nightmare. And the figure stepped back into the trees and dissolved as if the forest inhaled it. Hargrove grabbed Lily, pulling her away from the direction the figure pointed. "We're done," he said. "We're leaving. Now." But Lily shook her head violently. "No, he's telling us where he is." "Lily?" "He's not gone," she cried. "They left him out here. They hurt him, and now he's—" Her voice cracked into a sob. Hargrove tried to guide her toward the path, but she didn't move. She stared into the fog, transfixed, because something was glowing there, soft, faint, like light reflecting off water. A second figure appeared, smaller, younger, wearing a sheriff's cadet jacket, Jacob's jacket. Except the patches were torn, the fabric was muddy, and something wet dripped steadily from the left sleeve. Lily's breath froze in her throat. Hargrove whispered, "Oh, God." Jacob, if it was Jacob, lifted his arm and pointed at the ground directly beneath him. The earth shifted, as if something inside it pushed upward, as if something trapped below refused to stay buried. And then Hargrove heard it. Scratching. Not animal scratching, not roots moving, not branches rubbing. Human fingernails clawing upward through the dirt. Lily took a step toward it, trembling, whispering Marcus's name. Hargrove grabbed her, pulling her back as the ground beneath Jacob's feet rose, slowly, steadily, like someone was fighting from inside a coffin made of earth. The glow vanished. Jacob's figure vanished with it. The forest went utterly still, but the ground kept rising, kept swelling, kept pushing upward until it split. And something, or someone, just beneath the surface, moved. Hargrove dragged Lily into a run as the soil cracked open behind them. The forest did not chase. It simply watched, breathing. And before they reached the clearing, a voice, Marcus's voice, echoed behind them one last time. "You left me with them." Then silence, hideous, final, unbroken. The search team found the torn earth the next morning, but nothing else. No figure, no body, no trace of what clawed toward the surface. Just a single item lying in the center of the disturbed soil, Sheriff Hale's badge, cracked clean down the middle, and still warm.